The events of 1993 began when the leader of the Branch Davidians, David Koresh, and other organization members were suspected of violating firearms laws. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, initiated an investigation into the activities of this religious organization based on unverified information, or, simply put, rumors, about the illegal possession of automatic weapons by its members. Who was actually the source of those rumors? In the summer of 1992, anti-cultist Rick Ross forcibly deprogrammed former Branch Davidians member David Block at the home of Priscilla Coates, who at that time was the national representative of the Cult Awareness Network, CAN. In the process of deprogramming, which is essentially physical and psychological torture, Rick Ross wrested information from Block about the weapons stored at Mount Carmel and conveyed it to ATF, where he had personal connections. According to the 1993 U.S. Department of the Treasury report on the ATF raid, the message about the weapons turned out to be inaccurate and was based almost entirely on the statement of a former Davidian member, David Block. During the investigation of ATF's actions, the Department of the Treasury later criticized the agency's excessive reliance on a single dubious source of information. It is worth noting that at that time, legal sales of firearms were a widespread business in Texas, and it was indeed one of the income sources for the Branch Davidians. Therefore, when federal ATF agents began to show interest in the Davidians' activities, the organization's leader, David Koresh, invited the agents to visit Mount Carmel and personally inspect the weapons and the relevant licenses. However, Agent Aguilera, assigned to the case, refused this offer for some reason. Subsequently, after setting up round-the-clock surveillance on the community members, Agent Aguilera managed to compile the necessary materials to obtain a search and arrest warrant based on the collected information. The investigation initiated by the U.S. Congress later found out that the ATF investigation had been gross and untenable, while the statement compiled by Aguilera contained numerous errors, distortions of facts, incorrect interpretations of the law, improper application of the law to the facts, as well as a great deal of incoherent and confusing information. In particular, Agent Aguilera's statement claimed that Koresh possessed a .52 caliber anti-tank rifle, which was a criminal offense. In reality, he owned a .50 caliber rifle, which was totally legal. That the Davidians had grenades, but it wasn't mentioned that the grenades had been legally purchased and that Davidians were selling them at gun shows as paperweights. The statement included references to the testimony of a deputy sheriff who reported hearing the sound of a powerful explosion coming from Mount Carmel. However, he failed to report that the sheriff had investigated and learned that the Davidians were using dynamite legally for construction. The source of exaggerated claims about illegal weapons, paramilitary training at Mount Carmel, 24-hour observation posts, commands to shoot any suspicious persons on sight, and alleged plans to wage war against the U.S. government was the previously mentioned former Davidian, Mark Bro, who had abandoned the community due to disagreements with Koresh. At the same time, the statement against the Davidians did not mention that this former member was blind. Yet it claimed he had been personally involved in physical training and firing practices conducted by Koresh, and had supposedly served as a guard, armed with combat weapons. Thus, ATF agent Aguilera initially maintained the case against Davidians based solely on the testimony of anti-cultists and their accomplices. Based on these falsified materials, a search warrant for the Mount Carmel Ranch, where the Davidian community resided, was issued on February 25, 1993.